Okay, round two. Name something that's not boring.
A laundry? Ooh, a book club. Computer solitaire, huh?
Ah, sorry, we were looking for Chumba Casino. That's right, ChumbaCasino.com has over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Welcome to Bite-Sized Bios. This is meant to be a mini-sode that will accompany HDTH. Every week, I will pick a person from history and dive into their lives. All right, welcome back to another episode of Bite-Sized Bios, BSB. This week we're going to be talking about Michelle Obama, our first lady. Our previous, two first ladies ago? 3 now? 2? 2. We'll go with 2. So last week's episode was, what was it? It was cassette tapes and CDs and compact discs. Learned a lot about that. Learned that cassette tapes were basically Nazi technology. Always good to find out how, Nazis just sprinkle themselves throughout our lives every day. We also learned that the first compact disc actually didn't spin. Something spun over it. And a lot of different things. I would say if you haven't checked it out, go back and check it out. But this is always the mini episode where we try to cover a few things that may or may not have gotten into the last episode and kind of just, do a little rehash before we get on to learning about this person that we have for the week. And one thing that I thought about once I finished recording, it was all done, I pressed publish. I was like, not that it needed to be covered, but I was like, the answering machine. It's a piece of technology. It's like the Walkman in a sense of, truthfully, in the sense of we learned about the Walkman was actually when it was first created, it was made, or the prototype of it that they used to create the Walkman was actually a recording device and not a playback device. It was used for journalists, but because the guy, the CEO of Sony, was so into opera, he was like, I need something to listen to my opera on, so can you flip that for me, basically. But then we get to the answering machine, and so there's basically, it runs the same type of timeline as the cassette tapes, obviously, because it has to do with the whole idea of like putting the sound on like the little magnetic strips, which is like the fundamentals of modern recording. And so that basically the first people that do that we see are AT&T in 1934. It's created in the Bell Laboratories, and they actually kept it under wrap for years because they thought that if people knew they had an answering machine where you could just record what people were saying, that they would get less phone calls. That people would, they would be like, oh, well, I'm not gonna talk. I'm not sure if I get their logic. They thought that less people would call. But so the answering machine. That was basically the technology. The first main modern one I think was actually created because, like I said, they created it, but they didn't tell anybody about it. So people still had to people still wanted to invent it themselves. And so there was a guy named Joseph Zimmerman in Milwaukee who actually created one as well. I believe it was in 1949. So who knows when they actually when AT&T let this out? Obviously not until 1949. But So I just thought that was a part that it's not a big part of cassettes and CDs, but once I thought about it, I was like, it's something that should be mentioned. But so that's pretty much all I wanted to get into before we get to the episode. I think, as always, you guys know you can go to hdthappen.com 7 days a week, and you'll find transcripts and the works cited and also other things that go along with the episodes, so you can kind of find out where I get all the information from. There's also a blog up there, also links to the Twitter account. And then if you want to leave a review or you want to subscribe, that'd be awesome. You can do that wherever you listen to this pod. If you want to leave us 5 stars, that'd be awesome. If you want to give us 2 stars and tell us why you don't want to give us 5 stars, that's fine as well. Any constructive criticism is also welcome. But so without further ado, I think we're going to find out about First Lady Michelle Obama. Okay, so Michelle Obama was born Michelle LaVaughn Robinson on January the 17th, 1964 in Chicago, Illinois. Her parents were named Fraser Robinson III and Marion Shields Robinson. Fraser was a city water employee, a city water plant employee, and Marion Robinson, she was a secretary at a store called the Spiegel's Catalog, which I don't know what that is, but it sounds kind of Searsy, maybe? I'm not sure. her mother would actually end up being a full-time homemaker up until Michelle went to college, or excuse me, high school. So her Spiegel catalog time didn't start until, Obama was like 14 maybe. So I'm not sure what to call her in here. Obama, Michelle Robinson, First Lady, all the above. But so the Robinson, she can actually trace her roots back, I think past the Civil War, which is actually, for black people, is pretty impressive. Not gonna lie. On her father's side, she's descended from the Gullah people of South Carolina's Low Country. I think I'm actually descended from the same people. Her paternal great-great-grandfather, Jim Robinson, was born into slavery in 1850 on Friendfield Plantation. What a great name for a plantation, near Georgetown, South Carolina. He became a free man around age 15, right after the war. I'm not really sure why this is important. Like they put this in all of the articles that I read about her. Is like, and it's cool. It's like I like history, I like lineage, but I don't know why this is that important. So I'm just gonna skip over that because they keep on going about like her slave ancestors and I don't know. Let's see here. Yeah, they're still talking about it. So Robinson herself, or Obama. Let's go with Obama. So her childhood was in a place called 7436 South Euclid Avenue. Now I've read her biography. I believe it's called Becoming. And it's actually really good. And I haven't read her new one. I definitely would. I've read all of President Obama's books. I've read all three of them. I have multiple copies actually. I was just looking at that the other day. But to say it's pretty good literature. So she does mention a lot about her childhood home. And she lived upstairs on the second floor of I guess it was a kind of a duplex sort of thing. And her aunt lived downstairs. And her aunt actually owned the entire house and rented it out to her mother. Or in their family, so that's where they lived, I think, for her entire life, growing up. And of course, this was all happening in Chicago, Illinois. And so she was raised in what she describes as a conventional home, with the mom at home and the dad who works, and you have dinner on the table. And her elementary school was down the street. Very, very, very straightforward. She and her mother enjoyed playing games like Monopoly. They read a lot. They always saw their family all the time. She played piano a lot. They said she actually played piano so much that her family, like she practiced so much, her family was like, "Can you please chill with that, Michelle? Like we all need a break." The Robinsons attended services at the nearby South Shore United Methodist Church, and they used to go on vacation in a rustic cabin in White Cloud, Michigan. Ooh, doesn't that sound nice? White Cloud. It says here, I think that both she and her brother, who actually was really smart as well, or his name is Craig, who's I think a couple years older than she is. They both skipped the second grade. These guys were just really smart from the get, and so that'll get us basically into college. There's nothing I don't think that was worth really mentioning too much about her high school, and I'm sure people feel differently at me. I guess I don't know, but she ended up going to Princeton University, where she would get a degree in sociology, I believe. And then after that, she would get a JD from Harvard Law. So that resume is stacking up. And as part of her college degree, I believe her undergrad, when Michelle Obama was at Princeton, she wrote a thesis called Princeton Educated Blacks in the Black Community, where she researched the identity of Black Americans who had gone into the educational field, I believe after they had left Princeton, and how they identified as part of the Black community. Let me actually look and make sure that's, because I thought it was something different. I'm going to make sure that's right. Because I wrote down something different that I thought, let me look this up. Because what I remember it being is that she, I think, let's see. That's what it was. Okay, yeah. And so I must have transposed, I think it's transposed, these words wrong. So to go back and say the basis of her thesis was actually she had tracked down all these Black people that went to Princeton, and then basically asked them how they felt after going to Princeton. Did they feel like they were still in the Black community? Basically, did they feel like they had their Black card still, I guess, if that's a thing, which definitely is, but I don't know if it was a thing at that time. It's not what she was saying, I guess, but and what she found was that like a large part of them didn't, and I don't know why she thought that they would. I mean, I'm not saying, I guess, because once I was reading this, I was like, my opinion is yeah, they won't, and then they didn't, and in the article I read, they were like, she was really surprised by this and thought it would be the other way. I'm like, I guess you can't be right about everything, but So let's say that was just an interesting part of her time at Princeton. She graduates college, gets JD, and then she goes to work for this firm called Sidley Austin back in Chicago in 1988. It was there that she would actually meet Barack Obama when he came in as a summer intern. She was his mentor or whatever, and she actually was saying she wasn't even feeling him when she first saw him. Said he had a big nose, is what they said in one of these articles that I read. But she eventually came around. But she would go on to become the Assistant Commissioner of Planning and Development in Chicago City Hall before becoming the founding Executive Director of the Chicago chapter of Public Allies, which I think was just about like social activism and things like that. Like she had a really successful career before Barack, did his thing. And in 1996, she would join the University of Chicago's as an Associate Dean of Student Services, where she developed the university's first community service program. And in 2002, she went to work for the University of Chicago's Medical Center, where in 2005 she became the Vice President of Community and External Affairs. So, she is getting things done. During these years, the Obamas actually had two daughters that we all know, Malia and Sasha. And that'll bring us to Michelle Obama's personal life. Before meeting Obama, Michelle had told her mother that she intended to focus solely on her career. So it was really kind of a surprise to her when this guy kind of fell out of the sky into her job. And their first date, I think it's interesting, their first date was to see Spike Lee's movie Do the Right Thing in 1989. So that is their first date movie. Barack has said that the couple had an opposites attract scenario in their initial interest in that since Michelle had stability and from her two-parent home and he was pretty adventurous, they kind of went together like a yin and a yang, and they got married on October the 3rd of 1992. And so after suffering a miscarriage later on, Michelle would actually do in vitro fertilization to actually conceive both of her kids. And I did not know. I'm reading this now. I swear, I guess I do this and I forget. So Sasha's real name is Natasha. I don't know. I don't know enough about these people. I don't, so that's interesting. And there's not too much more to say about her, really. I mean, because there's a million things to say, but this is a bite-sized bio. And there's always, like I said, I've read her book. I would definitely recommend it. She wrote another book that I have not read yet, and that's one of the things that we're going to cover right here before we go ahead and get out of here. Is that the post-White House is where she wrote two books. She's written two books post-presidency, and she's also started a podcast, which I just checked on right before I started this, just to see what they're doing. They did 9 episodes, so I guess they're just it says season 1, so I guess season 2 is coming at some point. I don't know, but that's out there on Apple Podcasts if you want to check it out. But yeah, there's also a Netflix show that they had done. I mean, her and Barack, just like Meghan and Harry, they have their own production company, and they do stuff with Netflix. And this isn't a what I'm watching, but if you have seen that, there's a what is it? It's like Barack Obama has like a national parks show on there. That's pretty cool. If you're into national parks and you're into like Barack Obama, that's probably you might want to check it out. All right, that's been another episode of Bite Size Bios. We learned a lot about First Lady Michelle Obama. I would definitely, like I said, recommend her books. Those are, at least the one that I read is really good, and her husband's books are also good. The Netflix show is pretty good, like I said, if you like national parks. But yeah, I think not too much left to say. As always, like I say, hit us up over at hdthappen.com, and you'll see the transcript from this episode as well as other things that I'm not sure what I'm going to post yet for this page for her. But yeah. Thank you guys for always pressing play, and we'll see you in a couple days with the next How Did That Happen?
Judy was boring.
Hello.
Then Judy discovered ChumbaCasino.com.
It's my little escape.
Now Judy's the life of the party.
Oh, baby, mama's bringing home the bacon.
Whoa, take it easy, Judy. The Chumba life is for everybody. So go to ChumbaCasino.com and play over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Fargo, the new virtual assistant from Wells Fargo, makes banking faster and easier. Like this.
Fargo, what's my checking account routing number?
And this.
Fargo, turn off my debit card.
And this.
Fargo, what did I spend on groceries last month?
And that's just the beginning. Do you, Fargo? You can in the Wells Fargo mobile app. Learn more at wellsfargo.com/getfargo.
Terms and conditions apply. Your mobile carrier's availability and message and data rates may apply. Wells Fargo Bank, N.A., member FDIC.